and tenacious guardians, that was Into Hell We Dive by the XVX Project. I quite enjoyed the feminine vocals here, ranging from softly spoken encouragement to the wailing of a warrior queen, screaming her defiance against the oncoming night. That's just the kind of thing that we need right now. I had a moment earlier today to speak with XVX briefly, and I appreciate their enthusiasm. Their musical catalog has quite a bit of variety to it, ranging from Halo-inspired songs to more original concepts. And it looks like they're all made using AI tools, which doesn't so much matter to me if the sound is good. And the sound is very good. I think I made my stance on this kind of thing clear in an earlier broadcast. Music belongs to everyone, not just the insanely talented. And these new tools just make it possible for anyone to create something amazing. Soundsmithery is just more accessible to people now, and I believe that this is a very good thing. XVX writes their own lyrics for the AI song creation, which is basically how I do it as well when I feel like dabbling with Suno, and I will be following their career with great interest. Liked, subscribed, and the bell of liberty has been rung. Let freedom ring and angels sing, good sir. Now that my audiophilia has been satisfied, let's get into the news, which is, it's not great. The defense of Gaellivare absolutely imploded today with the arrival of automaton reinforcements from the Valdis sector, hot off the assembly line and thirsty for democratic blood. Ever since, SEAF has been scrambling to try to regain a foothold on this planet, and things have been stuck in a bit of a stalemate. Vog-Sojoth is in a similar sea of distress, looking to be completely overwhelmed by fresh additions to the Automaton invasion fleet within 10 hours. Sweet liberty! What is happening out there? Did someone suddenly rumor to pay the electric bill on Cyberstan or something? We're up to our eyebrows in hostile robots. Likewise, the situation on Imber remains extremely tenuous, and projections indicate that the defense there will barely fail in the next 2 days. And when it does, that's it. It will be extremely unlikely that we will be able to recover from a loss like that. The bots will claim the titanium, and do only Liberty knows what with it. Between Imber, Vog-Sojoth, and Gaellivare, our focus is incredibly divided. And unless we all rally and pick a singular target, we're going to win on any theater of battle. If you want my opinion, only Imber right now matters. So long as we hold this planet, there's still hope. Gaellivare and Vog-Sojoth are much lower in priority. While a Gaellivare gambit would have been nice, we do not have the numbers on the Western Front to justify that. Now, with that depressing mood out of the way, let's get into the discussion topic for the night that I promised yesterday. Space Marine weapons and how they stack up against the Helldivers. Would you honestly believe extremely similarly? At least when it comes to projectile flingers, that is. The default armament for the Space Marines is the Imperial Bolter, which fires an armor-piercing gyrojet projectile that pierces its target and explodes internally, causing immense damage. The pattern in larger scale use for the Imperial Space Marines is the Godwin, which has a magazine of 30 rounds and comes with a variety of attachments, such as the chain blade bayonet, which I definitely would not at all mind on the next bug hunt to tell a hunter that no really does mean no. To scopes, to recoil compensators, and everything a growing Astartes needs to put an alien in the dirt. Now, the knee-jerk reaction here is to say that this sounds suspiciously similar to the Jar 5 Dominator. And yes, you would actually be correct. The Jar 5's original design was based on this blessed weapon of +1 infinity overkill. It's just that the Godwin Imperial Bolter is massively scaled up to the point that if a Helldiver attempted use of it, they would probably break all of the bones in their arms. You kind of require a wholly meaty Astartes muscles in order to play with these toys. However, if you had such meaty muscles, I am fairly sure that the Imperial Godwin Bolter would turn pretty much anything the bots could make, up to the point of a factory strider, into nothing more than twisted metal and digital lamentation of how absolutely unfair all of this was. There is also a simply mind-boggling amount of variety when it comes to bolter variations. Heavy bolters, bolter carbines, storm bolters, bolters mounted to Terminator armor wrists, stalker bolters, bolters for different chapters, up to and including the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Imperium absolutely loves bolters. They're basic, they do the job, and no one really has any complaints. If you find yourself needing to stay in the Imperium of Mankind for any length of time, pick yourself up a bolter, even if just for the sake of having a souvenir. Oh dear, this is going to be a long episode, but who cares? You all are a captive audience, are you not? And if you didn't like hearing me talk, boy howdy, are you in the wrong place. Let's move on to the next weapons on my list for tonight. The las rifle and las cannon, to which there's some amount of debate over proper pronunciation. Las, lays, doesn't really matter. They poke holes in alien beasties. The las gun, or las rifle, is one of the more common sights within the Imperial Guard, who are not Space Marines, but rank-and-file soldiers, drawn up by the millions, if not billions, across the whole of the Imperium. They're light, 2.3 kilograms, or 5 pounds in moon landing units. It has a fairly decent rate of fire, 220 rounds per minute, and can be configured from low intensity, which is easier on the battery, to high intensity, harder on the bad guys. These little pew guns act similarly to our beloved sickles, who absolutely everyone loves across either battlefront, and like the bolter, come with a variety of attachments and variants. So many that if I stopped to list them all, it would be time for the next major order briefing, or possibly my Liberty Day broadcast. So I'm just going to go ahead and include links to the Imperial Lexicon for your reading pleasure, if you are so inclined. Las cannons are an entirely different beast altogether, and much like the bolter, require mighty manly muscles of macho-ness to lift and carry about. They fire a massively scaled-up blast of light to the point that they serve as anti-tank weapons. So really, it's an Imperial quasar. These things also see good use against the Astartes traitor legions, in that they reliably pierce their demonically infused power armor, and I have to admit, imagining a Chaos Diver just getting absolutely erased by one of these does put a smile on my face. Get good, Squirrel Boy. Now, let's get into the weaponry that has no real equal in the Helldiver arsenal because we lack the mighty marine muscles to use them. That, and melee combat tends to end pretty badly for us. To start, the chainsword. It is, more or less, exactly what it sounds like. A chainsaw mounted into a sword frame fueled by a Promethium engine, and these are messy. To the point an Ultramarine utilizing one of these will be recoloring their armor from blue to red inside of about 30 seconds of hitting the field. Still, they are extremely effective for what they do. Imperial Guard officers are issued these from time to time, but normal humans engaging in melee combat with Tyranids, Orcs, or Eldar, that's not gonna go great. The Thunderhammer is another such weapon employed by loyal Space Marines across the Imperium, and let me tell you, it's more than just a stick with a heavy thing on the end. Imperial weapons like the Power Sword and Power Axe maintain an energy field that runs along the edge of the weapon designed to parse enemy flesh or armor. But the Thunderhammer only activate their own energy field at the point of impact for maximum effect. The effect could not be more maximumer. Holy cow. My buddy, the #1 Dunedain, Strider, absolutely loves this weapon, and I had the pleasure of recently watching him just utterly go to town on some alien scumbags with it. Even a glancing blow utterly shatters a foe, and an enemy not well protected in their own power armor is probably going to score some serious distance before they realize that most of their internal organs just exploded. Don't get too excited, Helldivers. This is another weapon, not on your menu, but for good reason. You need mighty marine muscles to even pick it up, let alone swing it. If you could, you'd probably break a charger's head easily, but you can't, so we won't. We'll have to rely on other methods, unfortunately. It is a nice dream, though. Now, I've got time for one more weapon, because the script is running very long as it is, so let's cover the Imperial issue flamethrower. To be honest, it's more or less about the same as a Flam 40, and even looks similar. It squirts a chemical called Promethium, which is just really fun to say. Promethium. Promethium ignites on contact with the air and burns really good. The most common pattern used by both Adeptus Astartes and the Imperial Guard is the Mark IIIA Heretic pattern, and this would probably be one of my favorite weapons if I lost my senses and decided to enlist in the Imperial Guard. This is one of those rare instances where I feel that Helldiver technology surpasses the Imperium in that we have a lot more options to satisfy our pyromania thanks to the Ephraim's Flame War Bond. I can imagine that this might confuse a Space Marine though. Is it a ranged weapon? Melee? Is it both? How do I use this? Heck with it, pass me my chainsword for the Emperor. And so the story goes. That's been Liberty's Latest with me, Pondera the Radio Angel, and that concludes my compare and contrast series with Helldivers and the Adeptus Astartes. My conclusion? Both are good. And it really does feel like a lot of our current arsenal is at least inspired by their Imperium equivalents. But I lack familiarity with a lot of Space Marines, and the Black Templars better keep off my tail if they know what's good for them. Seriously, High Marshal Helbrecht, you sent any more of your guys to mess with me? I'm sending you all back to Terra in a pine box, you balding whack job. Even so, you, Helldivers, will always be my angels of death. My knights in shining armor who are always on the right side of history. You fight for peace, justice, and the Super Earth way. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for Super Earth.